Hello ladies and gents, this is another video brought to you by Answered, and today I'll be doing an update on my Camponotus Nicobarensis and my Parius. Now believe it or not, they're the only Camponotus I've got left. But anyway, first let's talk about my Patreon page. You all know how it works, you know that you get free stuff. The guys that have already signed up at the right level, they've got free stuff too. Check it out, and don't forget you get to go on my Discord page, and I forgot what it was called. But anyway, super massive thanks to these guys, Antics, Anton Rock, Adrian, David, PJ Grant and Wakushi for their continued support, because you guys helped me out big time. So let's talk about where we're at currently with my Camponotus. Now, it's been a very rocky road with these ladies, you guys well know. And if you remember this outward with the destroyed buildings in, it used to be packed. It's still quite busy in there. It is their main chilling area, to be fair, but it's nowhere near as busy as it used to be. But on the plus, I do clean it out regularly, but the graveyard is at a steady pace now. I'm not getting those mass deaths like I was. But if we move on to the other outworld, this is the Ant Canada one, it's Pants. This is their gym area. They run around in there and then they chill out in the tubes, as you well know. My numbers wise, I haven't got a Scooby's what they're at now. I really wouldn't like to guesstimate, but this is the other outworld, well, the main outworld as you've seen from a different angle a second ago. And then you've got the feeding outworld here, which they barely use now apart from to collect their water. If you remember back to the nest, this is the nest I tried to get them to move out of, and they're still in there. I've got a constant light on there all the time, but yet they don't move. They filled it full of trash, as you can see, but they're still in there. They just don't get the hint to move out. I really want to progress onto the Wakushi S6 nest, or the laptop version of it, which you've seen on Rob J's video as well, because I think that might do them well, because I know people have moved their Camponotus Nicobarensis in there and they're doing really cool. But as you can see, it's dirty, they won't move out. And adding salt into NG, they decided to move all the brood, well, some of the brood back into this area. But on the plus, I've got loads of pupae again, which means they're recycling those numbers. I'm stabilizing the population. Now, what have I done to do that? It's a good question. I literally have just put more protein in. Anytime I see that they've got a cockroach that has been completely devoured, boom, I'll drop another one in. Even if I'm not looking to feed the rest of my ants like I normally do, I drop it into these girls. And if we take a super quick look into the new nest I moved them into, they've still got plenty of brood there, as you can see, but they've started to fill this full of trash as well, and there's still loads of water. They seem a lot more happy now. I've stopped putting substrate in, not substrate, like some hydration medium in it, just let the water naturally evaporate into the nest, and they seem a lot happier. That might be a reason why I've got a good pile of brood again and a good pile of pupae, because this is in the second nest and you can clearly see there's plenty of pupae, and I've got enough larvae as well, so they are picking up. Now, I don't know why they burst into so much life when I first got them. In the first year, they exploded to 3,000 plus workers. Now they've dropped to maybe 1,500-ish at a guess. So they have gone very rocky roady, up and down, but they're still doing all right, generally speaking. And you can see here, this is another pile of brood they've got. So they are doing well. I've got plenty of pupae, so I should start seeing hopefully an increase in number. But check this out here. Look how many eggs and stuff I've got coming along as well. So the queens are blatantly still pumping out eggs. Hopefully they've picked that up now, up the protein, because there is quite a large amount there, more than I expected. So I'm going to continue what I'm doing. I've got them a nice clean nest. I will move them into a Wakushi S6 nest if I can ever get the money together. But yeah, they're doing good, and I'm really chuffed for them. Will I get back to the numbers I've seen before? Hopefully. But protein. I am stuffing these girls with protein. But I wish they wouldn't do this. I know they turn these into trash areas because the nest is too big for them, but you can clearly see that I'm trying to move them out of the old one, but they're being stubborn, and they love to chill out in the outworld. They love to chill out in the tubing. So to get them actually, oh, there's a queen. Ooh, to get them, and a pile of fresh eggs, I think. To get them to actually do what I want them to do, they're stubborn as. I've got a high white light on that nest constantly, the old nest, and they still haven't moved. They must hate me. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh no, not another HUD video cleaning out his bloody nicos. Well, yeah, you're going to sit here and watch me clean out my nicos while I talk rubbish. So there. But on a serious note though, but this is part and parcel of being an ant keeper, especially when you've got a decent sized colony that's 1,000 plus. The cleaning out needs to be relentless. Plus, because I use cockroaches, because they've got the most protein per insect that I'm aware of, that's easily to look after, and I can just buy them in, kill them and pop them straight in, and there's fresh protein for them. you know, they leave exoskeletons, it needs to be cleaned up. But if you can see here, compared to some of the other videos, and check out the playlist in the top right corner for the full history of these girls, you'll see that they have had massive death piles. So this is not too bad. I've not cleaned these out for at least a week or two. That's a steady amount of dead that I would expect for a Connolly of this age now. So it's not doing too bad. But I will say, which you're about to see in a minute when I speed this film up, get a Hoover. Honestly, I cannot tell you how easy it is. All I'm doing is picking out the big bits here to, because it will block my little tubing up. You'll see that anyway, but it blocks my tubing up. And then I hit it with a Hoover. Now, those things are great, guys. You need to get one for sure. People always ask me, have you got a link to these Hoovers, keyboard Hoovers? Literally, go on eBay, because that's the only link I'm going to post for you. Go on eBay, search keyboard Hoovers, and you can get ones that are a lot better than this. This is starting to show its age now, to be fair. But look how it is now, and then look how it is at the end. It picks up all the discarded bits of cockroach that they leave behind. That's all the white little bally stuff you see cutting around where I'm hoovering. It picks up most of that, and it picks up the dead, more importantly, so you don't need to worry about diseases and stuff affecting your ants. And like I said, I rate this. I think it's really good. I have adapted it with some tubing so I can reach in and do it without them bloody getting everywhere, because they will get everywhere. You know what they're like, the pains. But then if you look now, when I slow it down back to normal, you can see how much cleaner it is compared to how it was at first. They're just brilliant. And I'm all about making ant keeping easy for people, and this is the easiest tool you can get. So how are my Nicobarensis doing? I think they're starting to turn around now. Genuinely, I think they're turning around. They've got a decent pile of brood. As you can see here, they're active around any fresh kills, collecting the protein. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they're going to turn themselves around. Yes, I want to get rid of the Ant Canada hybrid nests, but that's still a financial sort of strain for me. So let's talk about my Camponotus Parius. They're very little shown on my channel because there's very little to talk about with them. I've had them probably almost just as long as my nicos, but I've always struggled with these guys, always. I mean, check out the playlist in the top right corner now and you'll see what I mean. They're currently housed in my 3D printed nest that I did for Camponotus species. I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, but they're still in that little outworld, which is the Antboy UK outworld, which I do like for larger species. Small species just don't bother, but large species are really good and cheap. And to blow my own trumpet, my 3D printed nest was made of Camponotus, and the humidity is pretty much bang on, and so's the temperature. So it works, but I just discontinued it. Now, before I disturbed them to make the video, I took a picture, and you can see, numbers-wise, they've grown. They've grown bigger than they've ever been before. Even though they're like 2 years old, there's still about 50 workers, which is still pants. But as I've said in my other playlist, as you've watched them, hopefully, about these guys, they're really slow to pick up. They've never really done well, but they're doing better than ever in this nest. I'll put a link in the top right corner now, and you can see my logic behind this nest, because I know this nest is too big for them, but I made a queen's chamber in there for them where they stick the brood. In fact, the queen's in one of the smaller queen chambers as well, so that works as well. So it wasn't a bad idea for me, actually. Now, since I've moved them in this, it was slow to start off, but now you can see she's got a nice little pile of pupae there and some larvae as well, so she's doing all right, to be fair. Then if we look into the queen's chamber, where it's a bit cooler, you've got the more younger larvae there as well. So they're picking up, to be fair. Yes, it's taken a while, but they're getting there. Now, I do apologise for the shakiness of this filming. It was done like literally at a weird angle where they were on the shelf in a little cubie that I've got it on. But back to that brood, you see it's cool, but here's the queen. Now, she is beautiful. Just look at those colours on her back and the way it reflects the light. I'm amazed these aren't more popular than what they are. Maybe because other people have struggled like I have with these. I don't know. If you've got a large Connolly, by all means, please, please, please drop me a link, or go onto my Facebook group or Instagram and drop me a link so I can have a look at your Connollys, because like I said, I've always struggled with her. She's plodding along. She's got about 50 or so workers, which is way better. And look there, you just missed it. But I seem to have minor workers, but that's a medial worker. And as these are polymorphic ants, which means they get like different sized ants and stuff, I should be getting majors at some point in the near future, which I'm looking forward to, because to see some majors of these with the light reflecting off them, they'll probably get moved off my shelf and somewhere I can watch them more regularly. Now, do not ask me what this is. I have not got a Scoobies. I mean the yellow stuff either side of the probe cable, and by the way, those cables go to the temperature and humidity probe. I've got no idea what that is, so any ideas? Please. Now, just look at the queen. Like I said, she's beautiful. They're just so underrated, these ants. And maybe one day when they actually grow in numbers, I might do a dedicated video to these guys rather than attach them onto other ones. But for now, you just have to make do with these little clip hits that I do. So my video today was actually suggested on my Facebook group where I did a little poll. So if you want to join in little polls like that, join my Facebook or Instagram group. But anyway, I'll stop talking rubbish. I do appreciate all the help and support I get from my channel, from my Patreons and from you guys just watching, liking and subscribing. And I do really appreciate it. I didn't think I'll be keeping this hobby up, as in making videos as long as I have. So I appreciate all your help. But I will stop talking rubbish and I will say bye-bye for now, and I'll see you in my next video.